Hi, everyone. Hi, James.
Hey, Valerie Hubbard.
Oh my God, we're back together again this month.
Thank God. so, so you have some exciting stuff happening in your side of the world.
Yes, yes, our fifth annual Summer Games is coming
Wow,
up.
wow.
And we've done it 5 years. Last year we did it in New York. You were there, you know.
Yep.
And I think you were there the year before when we did the last year in the park where the toilets didn't work.
I don't remember that aspect of it, but yes, I was there.
Okay, but we're in a different park this year. We're in Burbank.
Yeah,
We're in the Victory Theater at Hollywood Way and Victory Boulevard on Sunday, July 23rd. And the tickets are going to sell out, P.S.
yeah.
Because we have some amazing guests coming. Like the casting director for Quentin Tarantino.
Cool.
Yeah, we have some filmmakers that are looking to put people in their films because we're going to do a speed pitch game. So that's going to be a blast. We're so excited about this year's theme. It's like brand to pitch. It's so funny because one time when I used to teach for this crazy school and they were on the back lot of Universal, one time I had these people come, and in the morning they took a class, and in the afternoon we filmed the scene that we worked on in the class, and then they graduated. So the joke was, Valerie Hubbard, she'll teach you how to act in 5 minutes.
So let's talk a little bit about brand to pitch. Like what does that mean to someone who's stopping in the webinar, who wants to come, doesn't know you that well, or has heard about you? Like what is this whole thing about branding? Like how would you talk about that for an actor?
Okay, so number one, branding has to come from the inside. It can't be something that you try on you can try it on, but the only person who's going to know the true brand of you is you. And so we at Actors Fast Track, like when we take on a new client, we have like a ton of questions that we ask them to get to the base of that. But in the brand game, we're going to do one aspect of that, which will be the first game we're playing, which is we'll just have like thousands of adjectives and different description words. And we're going to ask people to brand themselves and then, put them on. And then we're going to help them get defined around that.
That's great.
Yeah, and everyone that attends and buys a ticket, we're going to do that. All of our coaches are going to be there. We have amazing judges. We have 2 coaches named Brian. Brian Coffey just booked This Is Us.
Awesome.
And Brian Majestic just booked 5 episodes, most likely reoccurring on General Hospital.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Yes. Yes.
So it works like everything we're teaching. It really does. So the brand, it's a way of talking about yourself. So I'll tell you what my brand is. That's how. Yeah. So I'm Valerie Hubbard. I'm a buoyant, ballsy broad who will take you through the funhouse. I'm a cross between Kathy Bates and Drew Barrymore. I play that woman that lives across the street. When you see me coming with a casserole, you turn off your lights and pretend like you're not home. Right. And then there's a spectrum of brand, and also brand is evolution. Actors are very guilty of stopping and starting over all of the time. So they throw the baby out with the bathwater. So what I try to get them to understand is that it's an evolutionary. Now I have clients that have had the same picture for 4 or 5 years and it's working for them. So, if an agent comes along and says, and they're a really good agent. I want to preface that. And they say, you know what, I need some other looks to do my job. You get them other looks to do their job.
Yep.
But you knowing what you do better than everyone else is dire important to you having a long career in the business.
Yep. Yep.
And really, frankly, it doesn't change that much. I mean, in 1990 at the Roundabout, I was Mercy Lewis, who's dumb and not the brightest bulb in the bunch. I'm still playing that at 55 years old. you know. So
I've gone from Luke Skywalker to Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's my.
there you go. But that's the thing. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it's like a spectrum within that. Like, you know, I do Disney, but I also do Resident Evil, you know, so there's that. Like, how does that, and that's just responding to the style of what's put in front of you.
Yeah.
As a performer, you know, I mean, my favorite class to teach in acting school was text analysis, because actors don't know how to do that, and that's really the most important job of all film actors.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, because as I coach actors here, more and more I'm having them look at like what is the story you're telling in this scene? Like we have to understand it, and if we don't understand it on a fundamental level, then we can't live in the scene. Right? We have to know like what's going on, what's this about, and we really have to become experts at reading between the lines, inside the lines, you know. Like what,
and when you understand yourself better, then you can understand someone else better that you're playing. And all you're saying is like, if that, you know, the what if. I mean, you know, what if I was, you know, in this situation? You know, yeah.
And what so let's talk about some of the other games too.
Yeah.
So the branding game.
Yes.
And then there's Dress Your Brand Relay.
Yes. Dress Your Brand Relay. So because it's our 5th year of doing the Summer Games, we wanted to go back to like and get a game from each year that we played.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So the first year we did a red carpet relay. So we decided to kind of change it a little bit. So we're going to do a Dress Your Brand relay. So the judges are going to be at the end, and you're going to be on your team, and you're going to dress your brand. We're going to have clothes racks full of clothes, and you're going to dress your and then you're going to run down. And if the judge says yes, then you run back, you undress, and then the next person dresses their brand.
And now, and if they say no, then you have to
you have to go back and re-up.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little like Survivor.
Yeah.
If you drop the egg, you have to go back and get another egg.
Yeah.
Like that.
Right. So once we've got them pretty clear on what their brand is, and we're giving everyone like this cool little notebook that's going to be around their neck so they can take notes and stuff like that. So then the next one is the cold phone call relay.
Yeah.
So we're going to teach people how to make a cold phone call and how to pitch themselves on the phone, right?
Very good.
So they have to run down and they have to try to get past the person that answers the phone.
So I have a wonderful story about Holly Hunter.
Okay.
So when I worked in a law firm for years in New York, and one of the other people who worked in the law firm had actually gone to school with Holly Hunter, and they moved to New York City together and shared an apartment. Right, so here's Holly Hunter, 21 years old, whatever, in New York City, and you know, I mean, we sometimes get this illusion about stars that they just hit it and booked, and you know everything was easy. She said to me that Holly Hunter was on the phone 8 hours a day, like a full-time job, pitching herself.
Yes. Okay. I want to say something about that. If you're on a series, you're working from now until March, like, you know, sometimes 14, 15-hour days, right? And you have a family or you have a life, that's sort of secondary, because if you're not there, you're memorizing words.
Yep.
And working on that. So you know, it's a fucking huge commitment. So if you're trying to become a series regular, that's how much you should be working.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you haven't seen the Defiant ones on HBO, the documentary about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, you should watch it, because Jimmy Iovine did the same thing. He sat in this bathroom with his feet up on the thing for a year and made phone calls. Yeah. Making a deal happen that changed the course of his life. He's a billionaire now.
And so you and I talked a little bit earlier about Russell Brunson, right? Yeah. Who's the sales guru.
Amazing.
And one of the things that Russell Brunson talks about, and so just as a note, to anybody who's listening, because right now Valerie and I talk to each other, but anybody's listening later, you know, as actors, you know, we don't think that we should be reading or listening to marketing specialists or salespeople. But the reality is that I wish somebody, when I was younger, had handed me books on selling. Because we're salespeople.
Yeah.
Right?
But no one tells them that.
No one tells us that. And one of the things that Russell Brunson says that I think is brilliant is he's like, you know, own the places where you shine. If you are a master letter writer, then write letters and send them to people. If you're a master of webinar, and you know, if you're a master of doing the webinar, like you know, we're doing it, right? If that's where your mastery is, then find a way to reach people through webinars. You know, go on YouTube. Go
consistency. Like if you guys actually understood how simple it really is to be a successful actor. Let me tell you a little story. One of my clients was a reader at a major network last week for a series of auditions. She told me that 3 people were no-shows. This was for a series regular, you guys.
Wow.
3 people were no-shows. 3 people were noticeably late. She said out of the people, that was a small group that they brought into it. Look at Sherry Winkleman.
Hey, Sherry.
She's like, I feel like shit. I'm not showing you my face. Looks pretty. Okay. Out of that, she said that you could make it to the top 10%, which means the people that are called back. You can make it just to a called back on how you show up, when you show up, right? So if you can make it to all the way to a callback on how you show up and when you show up, like, why aren't people doing that? So, you know, that astounds me. And so just that alone, and then can you imagine if you're great branding, if you have great branding and you're consistently going out there? It's why my clients are booking every week.
Well, what you just said to me is,
it's not magic. It's just because it's business.
Yeah, and exactly, and what you just said, like, you know, 3 people no shows.
Yeah.
3 people late. Like, yeah. I mean, the reality is this is a small industry. You know, we might feel you know, when an actor is a beginning actor, they might feel like they're outside of it and like it's huge and daunting. But the reality is that, like, at this point in their careers, I mean, I can tell you guys out there that Valerie and I, in every movie we see, and anytime we go to the movie theater, we're going to see lots of friends on screen. Yes. Any show that comes on air, we're going to see for friends on screen. We're going to, right? Because that's the industry.
Clients now, you know, and clients and students. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Not just like people I've worked with too. I mean, that's great. It's very small.
So because it's so small, no shows and being late is like you're doing it, and that message gets out, right? Like people know about who's on time. People know who shows up prepared. You know, casting directors know each other.
Yeah.
Like right? You know, directors know each other. Casting, you know, DPs know each other. They talk, and people who are easy to work with, people who come prepared, that word gets around.
True.
So the cold phone call relay.
Yes.
Can we talk about how does the game work?
So you're going to be in your team, and you're going to go down. Each person has to run down and try to make a phone call to the person. So the person answering the phone is the coach, is the judge. And you have to get past them to the person, because you either want to, you know, so you'll set up your call, you know, so each individual person will be trying to get to someone beyond the person that's calling. And so if they do or they don't, at some point they give up or they get hung up on, they run back and the next person. And then basically the most people on the team with the people that get through the most are the people that are going to win.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's also like the real improv, like the real improv of like, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What is the rehearsal game?
So the rehearsal game is we're going to give you a way to build your pitch. And then with everyone on your team, team is helping you prepare to do your pitch, because next we go into the pitching. So we're going to have pitching tents, and in each tent, you know, so there'll be a group of people to pitch to, and those people right now include film directors, producers, casting. You know, I've had a lot of turn downs from casting because of everything that's going on here, and it's just silly because it's just a pitching. I want the community to feel like, you know, nerves, because if they're pitching in front of, like, you know, gnomes, you know, they're not going to be as, but I want to give them some, you know, people, you know. And listen, the thing is, like, do not bring your headshots if you're coming to the Summer Games. Okay, because they're very weird here about headshots right now. So don't bring them. But if you have a business card with your picture on it, do it. If you have a postcard that you use to advertise yourself, do it. You can bring that. We'll have an envelope for each guest.
Okay, so here I am in New York City, and this thing about the headshots, they're weird about bringing headshots?
Yeah, because, you know, yeah, well, you know, so Mayor Garcetti, you know, did this thing. They filed against these casting workshops for being scams, which in the filing is a scam, if you ask me. I mean, there might have been one casting director that had issues, but they took down a bunch of casting directors that did not and should not have been taken down. They also broke down a lot of businesses that ultimately these businesses were there for the actor, and they cared about the actor. And so they weren't scams, and they were a way for an actor to get in front of their customer base. And so the only thing it really hurt by taking them away is the actor, ultimately. You know, and, you know, for the kid that, you know, went and pretended to be an actor, you know, like he said, he never got called in. He never got called in because he was, one, either untalented, or two, had the wrong scene.
And what's the, so not bringing headshots is sort of saying this is not a casting director workshop.
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a casting director workshop, but I want to give the opportunity for my clients and people that aren't my clients, but customers, right? Customers of mine, you know, and audiences of mine, to practice what I preach. You know, because it's different to say something, but when you actually do it, then you actually get to, you know, and if you fuck up, that's good. That's the best lesson. That's the best lesson you can have.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get you ready to pitch.
Good. And you guys, so I comment about effing up, right? Remember, it's the character who messed up. Like, if you're in an audition and you mess up, it's the character who messed up.
Yeah.
Like, right? It's really important. I watched the thing where Matt Damon is talking about confidence, and he says that the big transition from being a beginning actor into being a seasoned actor is confidence. That there is a transformation in your ability to be in a room with other people. And so if you look for it, there's like a YouTube thing. I forget what it is. It's like Matt Damon talking about walking in the room with other really famous actors, people who intimidate him. And he's talking about like how they responded to him and helped him to relax. And how much he realized how critical it was for himself to find that confidence.
Yeah.
If I find it, I'll put it up. But
Okay, great.
Yeah, here's I found that it's on YouTube. It's Matt Damon, the importance of, I'll post it up here. Matt Damon, the importance of not being nervous. Right. And
yeah, I'm gonna totally put that. Can you also send that to me so we can put that on the client page?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, good. That's really good. And then Anya can tweet about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, yeah, so the rehearsal is like getting you ready, and we give you a bunch of questions to answer. You know, when I'm getting someone ready to pitch themselves, or they're writing a pitch, the first thing I always say is, what is your hottest credit?
Okay.
Number one. Number two, if you don't have that, what is your hottest audition? And I might say credit or credits, like, you know, as well up here. Three, where did you go to school, or who do you train with? And four would be your brand. So, for instance, if you don't, I mean, like Michael Leon, he was a client. So he did a postcard that said, like a marketing document, like a brand statement. He said, I went to a top acting school, I speak fluent Spanish, and I'm multi-ethnic, or, you know, ambiguously ethnic looking. And he sent that postcard out, like, that's it, doom, doom. And he got, you know, several meetings from that.
That's great. That's excellent.
Yeah, because, you know, when you're pitching yourself, you need to show them what equals money. Yep. The most thing that equals money in our world is credits. Right? I mean, without you look like, you know, drop dead gorgeous and you're 18 and you just got out of Yale or Juilliard or NYU or something, you know, and you know, and you're drop dead gorgeous, but still it doesn't matter, because what I'm teaching you still need to learn, because you'll need it at some point.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter if you get the big agent and if you still don't learn the concept of it's your business and how to run your business, you won't have any longevity.
Yeah.
Right.
What, and what, so the pitch game itself, how do we play the pitch game? Okay,
so we're going to have a tent with buyers in it. So we've already gotten some MFA filmmakers from USC. Good. And we're getting some producers. We have a big casting director. We have, so we just have a lot of people that we're still saying yes, but those are definite right now. And you come in and don't worry, we'll have probably about 5-6 people on each tent. So that'll be great, you know, and you'll go and you'll pitch yourself 1 minute. Wow, that's great. So people actually have a chance to pitch themselves a few times. Yeah. To refine it. That's great. Well, we were gonna have them pitch individually, but it was too much like organization. Yeah. So yeah. That's fun. Yeah. That's excellent. Yeah. So I have actually never developed because my work is so focused now on coaching that I haven't been pitching myself. So this, you know, all of these questions are really fantastic. So why don't you pitch yourself as a coach? Now I'm all shy. Well, tell us about your recent successes with your coaching them. Well, so I just had an awesome actor come in, a guy named Gino Vento, young actor, fantastic actor, and he's been doing all of these action flicks. And he came in and we're looking at a script, and he said that he's always, you know, lately he's had a gun in his hand in all the things, and here he is doing this sort of heartfelt scene, this audition. He's like, I feel awkward, I feel uncomfortable, and so I asked him, like, who's it for, what's happening, and he said, oh, I'm really excited. Paul Giamatti's going to be in the room, Deborah Zane's going to be in the room, and I'm looking at him like, I know Paul Giamatti, like he's actually a friend.
Like we went to school together at Yale School of Drama. And I know Deborah Zane because Deborah Zane was the mother of Billy Zane and his sister who I went to school with in high school. And I'm like, so this is in the family.
Yeah, I love Deborah Zane.
Right. So I said, first of all, this is all in the family. So relax. These are good people, So that's the first place is relax, right? And then we began working on the scene, and we began to look at what's the journey of the scene, what's the story of this, and one of the things that he said, and I thought was kind of really wonderful. I mean, he's a very insightful actor. He's really magnificent. Gino is fantastic, and I realized that he's a prop actor, right? And a prop actor is like someone who feels more comfortable walking in the room with something in their hand, like a gun, or right, like and so I said to him, he was playing like a waiter or busboy, and I said, well, what if you actually walk in with your waiter's towel? And I pulled the towel out of our basket and tossed it to him, and I said, here it is. Here's your, and he came to life. He came to life, and he used it, right? So one of the keys, and I'm not talking myself as a coach like, oh, James is so magnificent, but rather talking about the transformation of an actor, because that to me is the sign of me as a coach is your transformation, your empowerment. Right. So the minute he had that in his hand, he came to life, and he actually took that towel that I gave him into the audition, and he wrote back to me after the audition. He said, it went as fantastically as it possibly could have gone.
When was that? Just happened?
Yeah, just last week.
Oh my God.
And speaking to other stuff we've been talking about, he was recommended by another friend of mine who's an actor on Orange is the New Black, a guy named Joel Garland, who's a lovely guy, and we actually did a play. We did a play together 15 years ago, Joel and I. And then we just did a reading of a play. And when we did the reading of the play, Joel and I were talking, and Joel said, oh, I have to put this thing on tape for an audition. And I said, listen, I'm a coach, and I'm here. Like, you got my time. Let's do it. So I just put him on tape for his audition. And he was like, and we did it in the dressing room of the show we were doing. And he was like, you're really good. And so when this actor came to Joel and said, hey, I'm looking for a coach for this, really important audition I've got, Joel used my name and said, oh, you talked to James. Right, so this is the thing of like, putting yourself out there boldly, just be who you are, say who you are, claim it, own it, and the other thing was that I was in Connecticut for a long weekend when the call came in that there was a potential, I had potential work. And I said to my wife and I said to my family, you guys, I have to drop, it's lovely to be here out in the country with you, but on Sunday in the early morning, I have to hop on a train and get back to New York City because this is my job. And it's important for me to show up when the call comes. Yeah. Right. So I left Connecticut, put my clothes on, left the beach, got dressed, came back to Brooklyn, and I was here and ready for him to coach on Sunday. And really, all the things you and I have been talking about today, Valorie, right? Like putting yourself out there, being clear who you are, owning your talent, owning your skill, not being hesitant about like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I'm really awesome. Yeah. Because all all I'm doing at Actors Fast Track is taking people from part-time to full-time actors. Exactly. And most of them come to me as part-time actors not understanding that part-time, effort gets part-time results. Yep. Right. And so, that's a big transition that happens. And in our summer games, we're taking them from brand to pitch. Yep. Because, I don't want to put a bunch of good ideas in an actor's head and not let them at least try it with us. I agree. Absolutely. Because in terms of like the business coaching we've both done together, you can tell someone an idea, and if you don't help them to implement it, then they can feel like it doesn't work.
Yes.
Right? And they can feel like it doesn't work because they didn't implement it in a confident, powerful, clear way.
Yeah, and people are so afraid of falling down or getting hurt. And it's like, you are going to fall down and you are going to get hurt. So just accept that and get up and take action, whether it's, political action or whether it's action on your acting career that you've been talking about for a million years,
Yeah.
And that you haven't taken action on. Because I have now 5 years of direct results that consistent action 100% of the time will make you a working actor.
Yeah.
It's never failed yet. And it's blown me away.
No, and
I didn't expect that when I started this. I didn't expect this, that it would really that it actually worked for everyone. And I didn't realize that you could do so little and get to the 10%. I'd always been in the 10%. But I didn't realize that it just didn't take that even much effort to get there now.
and I think what you're talking about is really powerful, and it speaks to, you and I've talked about the early on, you always sought out a coach.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Right.
Why would you not go through life with some magical guide? We see it in all the fantasy movies, and every movie. There's some, we have gods, we have, God, Jesus, Buddha, all the different leaders, Allah, whatever, like there's a million leaders and on earth leaders, right? We have people like that, but why?
It's funny because I have a different, you and I have similar paths, but different tracks and gone different ways.
Yeah.
But when I was in Chicago, I had a friend in the business who said, there's a woman who does business coaching for actors. This was like, I don't know what, it was 1987.
Uh-huh.
And that was the person that I began working with. And she, this is when the high tech was a book full of notes, right?
Yeah.
Like there was no iPad, there was no iPhone. It was all, and it was all about like keeping track of things in a clear way and knowing what you're doing and moving forward in a methodical way, and we all need that. We need a support system. We need people who believe in us, who are experienced, who can actually talk to us about what we're doing in a way that helps us to find our center and find relaxation. And also, I love what you're giving to people, because the position of being an actor to our big industry in that when we first step out can be very, very daunting and difficult. It's like a moving train. And you're saying to someone, hey, hop on the moving train. And it's like, well, how can I hop on the moving train? Right? And the industry always feels like that, right? It's always a moving train. And there are ways to get on the train.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And, I've in the 5 years I've been in business, I've had people decide to get off the train. After working with me and finding, what they really wanted to do. Or maybe, the other thing is the thing is that I always tell people is you don't know what you don't know. And that's really, really important, because 5 years ago, if you'd have told me that I'd be running this big business and I'd know what cash flow, P&L, all of the things that I know now about my business by really just getting an MBA by doing it.
Yeah. That
I would be like, please. Because, I was just an actress and, so I think you don't, and I didn't know this about when I went to acting school when I was 18.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And met Sherry, this girl that's down here below hanging out. She's one of the first people I met in acting school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, should I unmute her?
Hi, Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry lives in Chicago, James.
Sherry, you live in Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'm from Chicago.
Get out of here.
No, I grew up in Lincoln Park.
No way.
Yeah.
I lived on
how we
Armitage
met?
and Sheffield.
You want to hear how we met, Jimmy?
Yeah. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was at a dorm party in Lincoln Park in Chicago at DePaul.
Yeah.
And so, okay, mind you, I grew up in Kansas and I went to acting school in Chicago, and I went when I was 18. And, you know, I was all into punk rock and, you know, that sort of thing, right? So I get to my dorm, and the first people I met are like into Barry Manilow, and 2 of them are going to be nuns. We were at a Catholic university. That's where the Goodman School of Drama was. It was at a Catholic university, right? At DePaul. So, so I was like, oh my God, right? So, anyway, I went to one of the early dorm parties before school had started. And I'm like, and all the guys look like guys from high school in Kansas. You know, it was the time of Izod shirts and khaki pants and boat dockers or whatever
Yep.
those shoes were called, remember? The brown ones.
Dockers.
So anyway, I'm like, this is my narrative. It might not even be Sherry's narrative. But anyway, all of a sudden I was at this dorm party and the B-52s came on. This girl came into the room and she had on sequins and long gloves up to here or something. And I met her and we were instantaneously friends.
I think I was dancing on a dorm bed when you walked in the room, and then I jumped off the bed.
See, 37 years ago. That's a long time ago.
I love it. Oh my God.
How was it 37 years ago when we're only 35?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We went
Magic.
time zone or something.
You're not going to tell them the Baskin Robbins story, I hope.
Oh yeah, we were always on these crazy diets, and one time I caught her with her hand on the door going into the ice cream place, and we yelled. We were in our car. We yelled out, scared the shit out of her.
My arm was literally on the door, and it felt like it was frozen because I heard this scream from across the street, like, don't do it.
They were such actresses, though. I mean, like, everyone can relate to this, you know, like there's Samara. Hi, Samara. We had leotards on, and we would have our little leggings on, and we were so cool. We were crazy as they come.
Yeah. Nothing's changed.
No.
What's
no.
your target?
Sherry worked with Actors Fast Track.
Mm.
And Sherry and I have lots of history.
I want to come and work with Actors Fast Track again. I'm trying to get my ass to LA, and I have a question. I don't know if you're taking questions.
Yeah, we'll take questions.
Okay. I've had some great auditions lately with Claire Simon and Marissa Ross here for all these Chicago shows. I really want to do comedy, but everything that's filming here, as you know, is pretty much Dick Wolf stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little messed up on my brand because it's like if I put out a comedy brand, which is what I really want to focus on, that's really not what I'm being called in for or what's shooting here. So I'm like, And my end game is really to get to LA as soon as I can figure that all out. So just trying to figure out branding wise if I should kind of keep catering to the market, you know, that's here, that's shooting, or that's my kind of pickle at the moment.
I can help with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen, it's kind of like I was talking about, I don't know if you were here in the very beginning, but I was talking about spectrum of brand.
Okay.
So like, for instance, you know, I mean, I make most of my money up in this spectrum, which is, you know, the crazy Disney lady that thinks she's better than you know, or somewhere around that girl. But over here, I also have that Resident Evil spectrum, which is like, I'm going to kill you and I hate you and I'm dumb and sort of white trash, kind of that world that I play really well.
Mm-hmm.
The through line of buoyant, ballsy, broad, you know, which are like the 3 adjectives I would probably use for myself are buoyant, ballsy, and broad. Those are 3 words that I would use to describe Valorie Hubbard. They can go into that spectrum or that spectrum.
Okay.
So according to what your market is hiring, which is Dick Wolf, and
Yeah.
what you're getting called in for, when you have a product that keeps getting asked for, you need to put that product in the front of your store.
Okay.
Okay, do you ever watch Marcus Lemonis, The Prophet?
No.
It's a reality MSNBC. Like, he goes in and he gives the business money, and he helped, but for 51% of control of what they're going to do and what they're going to sell.
Okay.
And it's a really great show because I learned a lot about business from watching that show. But he always goes in and says, what's the thing that's making you the most money now? So then why do we have 500 other things in this store? Let's take those things and put them in the storeroom and focus on the thing that's making money.
Yep.
Okay. So
Your brand can birth all different products, right? So right now, the product of district attorney, young, torn mom, whatever it is you're auditioning for on these Dick Wolf shows, that's the product that's getting bought right now.
Okay.
So what I would do is put that all there for when you get here where it's all comedy.
Okay.
You know? I mean, like, it's hilarious because Samara's here and she wants to do Dick Wolf shows. So that's like,
Get out of here. Well, you know, I got an apartment for you, babe. Let's swap.
that's hilarious. So
That is hilarious.
yeah. So because she's got that sort of, you know, she's got that young paramedic, you know, who's the hero of the show, you know, that has drama in her life but hides it very well going on. Like,
Wow.
that's a lot of, you know. So that's one of her go-to people she's going after right now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So
what you're getting auditions for? What are kind of the roles that you're getting in for?
yep, they're the traumatized mother with her son in the ER. They're mostly mom roles, you know, on Chicago Fire. I just had an awesome audition in Chicago Med. It was a 4-scene part, much bigger role for Marissa Ross. She actually gave me really nice feedback, but then I look at her history. She cast all this comedy.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, you know. So I sent her a nice postcard and showed her my comedy, you know, channel.
Yeah.
But now she's casting Chicago Med. So
look at Dale Dickey. Dale Dickey is a perfect example of this. So Dale Dickey's always played sort of like you're a prettier version of Dale Dickey. Sorry if she's listening to this, but she's great. She works all the time. Okay, so right now she's playing hilariously the mob boss's wife on Claws, and it's so great because she was nominated for a Spirit Award for Winter's Bone, and she should have been nominated for an Oscar. She was that aunt that takes her to see her dad's dead body. In Winter's Bone, and so that's Dale Dickey. So she's made her primary money playing that kind of like deep woods, you know. She was the mama werewolf on True Blood. I mean, that deep wolf, like back, you know, woods woman. But now she's still playing that, but now she's doing it comedically.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you look at Patricia Bethune, she's another actress. She was really funny on True Blood, but then she's been very serious on Mad Men. You know, and then she's on Bosch now, and I think they were promoting her to get nominated for a Best Guest Star on that show. She's an interesting person for you to look at too, because these are all people that have done a great job as an older actress of being funny and dramatic.
Okay.
Leo.
Yes.
Leo. Yeah, Margot Martindale.
Yes. Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and so you're in that realm now.
Yeah.
Sherry. So you just, like, I have that. Like, I have the I killed your children picture, and I have the, you know, I have that Disney, you know, a know-it-all picture.
Okay. So just keep with I need to get consistent with my brand here then and not put out comedy stuff for now.
On the product that they're going to buy.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would look at every NBC show. If I'm selling to NBC, to Dick Wolf specifically, you want a picture that looks like you're a character on the show, that's wearing exactly what the character that you should have auditioned for was wearing in the picture, and having the same look. Because then you're just showing up already. That's the top 10%. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
You're giving them what they're already buying.
Okay.
And they need to buy more of it.
All right.
Right? And so when you show up, you want to show up fully branded, because that will get you the job before you even open your mouth. Especially with some of these co-stars and even guest stars. It doesn't matter. It's like, because what James was talking about, which is you are jumping into their story being told. And so when you show up in costume dressed like they all dress, you know, like when I booked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., look, you couldn't see the script ahead of time. You had to get there. You had to sign a non-disclosure and then go in. So I just watched the damn show, and they were all wearing periwinkle or gray. So I put on a periwinkle dress because I was at a wedding. I was Aunt Cindy at a wedding. That's all I knew. I put on a periwinkle dress and did my hair. And I went, I looked the line, I did it, I looked at it, I did it, I got it. It was a guest star, and they put me in a periwinkle dress. From like Neiman Marcus.
I love it. With a periwinkle wig.
Right. I mean, right? So it's like, oh, you give them the brand that they're going to hire.
Okay. But that's actually, the famous story of that is the Fonz. So Henry Winkler read the script, and he was like, who is this character? And they actually didn't spell out the Fonz. The Fonz actually had nothing spelled out in the script, so he created the Fonz and went in as the Fonz, and they wrote the character then for him based on the Fonz. So that idea of like walk in the door ready for them to buy you right now as you are. Right? So that you're basically dressing your product for them to buy.
Yeah. When
that's the product that's selling, you just sell that. Don't worry about all the other stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Showing up, looking the part, all of that's been consistent. What's not been consistent is my marketing, you know?
Well, so, and the other thing is that you've been talking about yourself as a comedic actress. But you're not just a comedic actress.
No. I want to focus on comedy because I've had enough drama in my life to last 3 Shakespeare trilogies. So I'm like, get me the fuck out of drama. My life's a drama. I want to do comedy.
Then
I have
LA.
no problem doing drama. I can go in there and cry my fucking eyes out all day.
Yeah, she's a really good actress. She didn't tell you this part. When she got out of acting school, William Morris brought her to New York, changed her name, dyed her hair, and was going to make her into a big star. And I'd already been there for 2 years, kicking ass, and and she shows up and she's getting auditions for Steven fucking Spielberg. And I was like, bitch. And oh my God, she was so not who they were though.
I fought with them. I was terrible. I was their worst nightmare.
That's our favorite story. So there's a very famous manager out there. We won't name her. But anyway, she was Sherry's agent, right? So,
yeah.
So
now she's a manager.
So, they kept telling Sherry she needed, because Sherry was, Sherry's always been totally in shape and she went off to dance school for 2 years, So she's always been amazing. They kept telling her she needed to lose weight. It was the 80s, right? And so she had this big audition that she really, really, really cared about. And we were living together in Jersey City. And she wanted this movie so bad. It was the one thing she auditioned for that she had a true feeling about. It was about Israeli war or something. It was really her.
War Shepherds.
Yeah, War Shepherds.
Fisher Stevens as my boyfriend.
Yeah. So, and she got called back and she really thought.
For 2 months. They tortured me.
So then when the day that she found out she did not get it, we came home and I'm like, well, let's make a stir fry. Now we were making a stir fry with like chicken and carrots. And I mean, like, and, you know, like we were doing vegetable stir fry. We were both living healthy lives. So anyway, they call. Assistant calls and she's like, can I speak to Sherry? And I was like, well, we're eating right now. She's like, no! No, tell her to stop eating.
Oh my God. I get on the phone, and by the way, the assistant weighed about 350 pounds. And she said to me, Trevor, because that was my name at the time. She said,
that was her name. They changed her name to Trevor.
Trevor, you didn't get it. And she's like, you sound like you're eating. I said, yeah. She goes, what are you eating? I said, an apple. I was basically living on vegetable juices, doing 3 aerobics classes a day. I said, when I go into kidney failure, is that going to be good enough for you guys? The fuck. Sorry, we're on recording.
Honestly, that didn't last very long. Obviously, clearly, that didn't last very long. But
oh my God.
it just goes to show you, you know, you get some big thing and you think, this is it. I'm going to be a star.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to run a business then. I was too busy fighting with them and challenging them. And I wasted an opportunity. You know, I could have, had I known what Valerie's teaching now, I could have had them in my pocket, but instead I fought them because I didn't know how to work with them. So I just challenged them and fought them. And then, you know, let a lot of things hurt me. So I didn't have the actors fast track school then, so I screwed it up.
I wish I would have had me then too sometimes, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
I did have Jay Perry at Actors Information Project, but my thought from that is that what this has really evolved. And now the stuff that I was talking about, you know, 25 years ago in like my old company 20 years ago with Leah, the strategies, all of that still applies, but now it's sort of like the industry has caught up to what I was talking about.
Yeah.
They're following you now.
Well, it's a wild, wild west out there. And
It
so,
is.
you know, the industry is going to change. And so now more than in ever, it's important to really understand that you're running a business, and the beginning of that business is branding and learning how to sell. Because if you don't learn how to sell, you're never going to be in business. Yes. Right.
I was just on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say you'll only end up in Baskin Robbins. Never mind.
I was just an on-set coach on a movie.
You were?
Yeah, it was a short sci-fi film, and the company that's producing it is ReelArc, ReelArc.
Oh, right.
And ReelArc, you saw ReelArc at the event.
Yeah.
And ReelArc, I actually, years ago, I coached one of the owners of ReelArc when he was an actor. And now he runs ReelArc. And what they do is they shoot, so an actor can go to ReelArc and say, this is how I want to pitch myself in the industry. And ReelArc will write a scene for you and then professionally produce it. So that, right? So if you're pitching yourself in a particular way, ReelArc will basically create something you can then send to the agents and say, here's me as this.
Perfect.
So if they've never seen you in that way, you can actually say, look, here I am. This is what I look like when I play a police officer. This is what I look like when I play the neighbor you want to hide from.
You know, it's really easy now to get, just to get even a scene that you get that you've auditioned for and put it on tape and use that. If they ask you and say, oh, well, like, here's my recent, when they ask for tape or they ask to see you or your reel or whatever, you don't have to send them what they ask for.
Yeah.
Right? You send them what you send them. So, check out this recent audition. If you had 4 auditions, you could send 4 different emails.
Yep.
Even, which gives you an opportunity to send 4 different things, right? So putting your things on tape is a really good idea too, you know, because I'm telling you, I had a girl, my very first client in Actors Fast Track, Maria Mesa. We didn't have, I mean, her manager kept bothering us because, you know, a month after working with me, she got this big manager and she was getting big auditions. So she was driving me crazy with like, we need better tape on Maria. And the truth is, finally what worked is like me coaching her on an audition that was really good and using that audition tape.
Yeah. That's
what worked. So those work too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. So I just want to remind everyone that's watching today or joining us that the Summer Games are this Sunday, a week from Sunday, July 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Burbank at Hollywood Way and Victory Boulevard. So we're going to start at the Victory Theater in the morning for registration and a little teaching, and then we will move together as teams to the park to continue the games throughout the day, and that's where lunch will be served as well. The tickets are available on the AFT Games. We're going to take you from brand to pitch, and it will sell out. It will sell out. I'm just going to let you know that. Like, or at least, I mean, you can come, but you won't be able to participate in the branding to pitch game, which is what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Which you have to do. You guys don't miss that. I mean, like if you're gonna miss anything, miss what you're doing the day before. But don't miss the games, because the power of what Valerie's covering in this and what, you know, Actors Fast Track is covering. You know, I mean, the games. I love this. These games are actually the games of the business. And if you become a master of these games, then you're going to break through in the business.
Yeah, and a lot of my clients who are, you know, have, like, I have clients now that have bigger IMDb's than me, right? I mean, a lot of clients have bigger IMDb's than me, and so, you know, they're going to be there, and they're going to be playing too. You know, they know how to play clearly because I've taught them. So we are giving prizes for the best team, and they're good prizes. I mean, we just paid. Doreen wins everything, you know. Doreen, like, you know, she books like crazy. She got the best agent, you know. And so we just paid for her headshots finally for her new agent. And I'm saying finally because she finally got them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was her prize from winning the last challenge. And we're also going to be talking the winner of the agent challenge, which of course, again, Doreen got one of the best agents, but we have a couple other clients that brought really good managers and agents during the challenge, including Samara got Bohemia. So
hey.
Yeah, her postcard is great that she's sending out. So we have a lot of people that have done very, very well with the challenges, and you know, it's great. Yay!
Yay! So,
okay.
so once again, theaftgames.com.
Yeah.
The links are to the right if you guys can see them. Just sign up. This is the
no
victory.
Headshots. Just
no headshots.
Cards or postcards or marketing document if you have anything like that, like a one sheet, you could bring that.
Yep. July 23rd. I'll be there. Excited to see you, Valerie.
Bye.
Bye, Sherry. Nice to see you.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Sarah. Bye.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi. I have to end meeting.